Okay, in this video, I'm going to go through exporting. So you finished your project, you have it completely done and ready to go. So what you're going to do is go right up here. There's going to be import, which we've already done in the very first video. Edit, which I've shown you how to do a little bit so far. And export. You're going to click on export. Now, there's a couple ways you can get to this. You can also do file and export right here. You can also do Control M to get to export. So you have three options to get to it. And then you're going to want to put in a title name because by default, it's going to do sequence. So this is for me going to be green screen. It is just like that. That's going to be my title. Then you're going to want to pick a location. For me, this is just going to be my location right here. You're going to just pick your hard drive, or it's just going to be C. C is just going to be your computer, your typical computer hard drive. Now, my computer has two of them. Chances are you probably won't have two, and I've of course got a bunch of external hard drives. You probably don't have this many as of yet. At some point, you're probably going to need more. As you make videos, I have made a ton of videos. So of course I have a ton of hard drives. So anyways, I'm just gonna click save. You're gonna want to click and do like a folder to go into, possibly as well to keep things more clean instead of just dumping them into the whole drive like I'm doing here. I'm just gonna dump this one right into the whole drive. No, I don't want to dump it though. Dump it in the whole drive into X videos. Now, the next thing you're going to do is usually by default, the preset is going to be on matte source adapted high bitrate, which I mean, that's fine. But honestly, for the best quality, I would go with whatever your video is. Like if you're 1080p, then pick 1080. But for my footage, it's 4K. So I usually by default always click 4K. Even with my gaming footage, I click 4K because it's just generally the best quality. But another thing you can do is go to more presets, and then you can type in YouTube. If you are uploading this to YouTube, and you're going to be clicking 1080 or 4K, depending on what the source quality is. And then by default, you can then go to here, click OK, and then it'll change. This is YouTube 1080 4P. But I always just go to high quality. Then you can pick the format. I usually just stick with this format. This was pretty much just the standard like MP4 format. But there's several options in here. You can just go straight down and have a good variety, as you can see. But I always, for YouTube, I always just do the typical H.264 because this is essentially just an MP4. If you just want audio, MP3's the option for audio, and you can see it'll change my preset to custom. So it's pretty straightforward. You can also just automatically click match source here. This will just match whatever your video is. So let me go to, I don't know, 1080, which it definitely isn't. Click match source. Then it'll just set it to custom. It'll just do whatever this is. I always just like doing 4K though. Now, sometimes what will happen, I've ran into this problem before. Well, it would just give me an error message and say something happened or something went wrong. It would do it consistently. A lot of times it will be this performance. Because by standard, it wants to do hardware encoding. And I will switch it to software. I don't know why, but sometimes that fixes it. So sometimes you might want to, if you get an error message, I just try switching this to see if that just fixes the issue, because a lot of times that will fix it. A lot of this other stuff I don't mess with. There is a VL video option here that you can select. I actually haven't used this even though I have done VO video. I just haven't messed with this. So, it's not really needed, but I mean, it is adjustable here. I might have to play with that a little more. There's audio. I haven't messed with the audio really on here. Generally, you're going to be fine just picking a preset because all of this will get filled out depending on what preset you select. So if I go to YouTube, it'll change out the presets according to that. And generally, most of these won't get messed with. It's going to be the video is the one that's going to get messed with the most, depending on what you're selecting. So, yeah, generally, I would do either 4K or 1080. But if you want to get really, really specific, then you have the YouTube presets. This is just what I use for my GoPro footage. So if you're doing GoPro, this is what I use if you want to use that. Or you can just go down and use Match Sequence or a YouTube one if you want to get really specific. And then you just click Export. It will load and then it will give you the timestamp of how long it thinks it's going to take. Now, at times this will get at 100% and it will just stay there. It looks like it got stuck in this case. I would just let it finish. It can take 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It really depends on the video. There has been times where I have gotten impatient and I just clicked X. And sometimes it will break the export and I will have to restart it. And other times it will be fine. And it just got stuck. So sometimes you can click the X out at 100%, but there is a possibility that it will either work and everything will be fine or it will break the file. So it's generally best to just wait, but sometimes I didn't have waiting any longer as an option because I had to leave. So I just clicked X and hoped for the best. But that is an option now. And it will usually, knowing Adobe, sometimes Adobe gets issues and runs into errors. It usually does get frozen at 100%. I think for me, it's pretty often with long footage. With something like this, most likely it will not get stuck. It will get stuck when it's like an hour of export time. And an hour is a really long time, but generally what will happen is that will be with content, like for instance, the TV show I was working on, Operation Save Wildcat. That took easily over an hour, maybe even two, because it had a lot of effects. It had a lot of green screen that was used. The more effects and the more edits you do, the longer it's going to take as well. So it doesn't just depend on the footage length. Like I can have I think this is like a 10-minute video. Yeah, this is 10 minutes and it's going to take 5 minutes. But there was zero effects in here. If I had a ton of effects, then this would easily jump to like 30-minute export time. The more stuff you throw in, the more effects, the more things you mess with in Adobe, the longer it takes because it has to import all of those and render all of them. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes it'll take a long time, other times it won't. So just be sure when you go to hit export on a long video, you have plenty of time available to just let it sit there and do its thing. I would generally recommend to click export if you're gonna go, say you're gonna go eat or you're going to. For me, I'll click export if I'm gonna go walk out. That way, it has that plenty of time to export because you don't want to just sit here and wait for it to export. So I would usually wait till you're going to be doing something, but you're around to check back up on the computer and see that it's hasn't run into any error messages or anything like that. Because sometimes something would just break, Adobe gets funky, a lot of times, if there's errors, it's generally just good to close the program and reopen it. I will also just restart the computer at times. Make sure you save your work before you click export as well. I think it will usually auto save it before then. And as you work on your project, it will auto save. But it's generally just a good idea to click save before messing with the export option. And I would generally save after you did a lot of work. Okay, now my export is at 5 seconds, so we'll see if it either gets stuck or finishes it up. It should just finish up. See, now it's at 100, and it got stuck by the looks of it. So, yeah, if it gets stuck at 100, don't worry about it. Just let it finish. Because as you can see, it looks like it's supposed to be done. This is normal. I don't know why. I think they should honestly just patch this, because it makes it look like it got broken. This is normal. Just let it be stuck at 100 and just wait for it. This is perfectly fine. But I will see you in the next lesson, and take care, and good luck with your editing process.